welcome to Travel Bits. I am your host, Bonnie Quartermanch of Bonnie's Travel, a home-based travel agency here in Seekonk. I am happy and thrilled to welcome my first ever guests to my show, Adam and Krystal. They went on a whirlwind vacation cruise, a 14-day cruise to China and Japan and South Korea. And I'm excited that they're here and willing to share their experiences with us. Another first for Travel Bits is this will be a 3-part series because I want to make sure that we cover all the elements, all the aspects of their fabulous vacation. I want to make sure we get all the deets. So the first part I want to start out with is the long haul flights. They had to fly from the United States to China, and then from Japan back home to the United States. So I figured that would be a good place to start. So let's start with that. Please tell me what your departure city was and what time of day, your flight. Like, what airlines did you fly? What class of service? Did you fly first class? Probably not.
We walked through first class.
Yes.
It was very nice.
It was.
Don't we
It was
all?
good.
So-
Good vacation.
Where did you depart from?
So we actually left from JFK,
Okay.
and
It was evening.
It was evening?
Air China.
it was Air China. I believe the flight left at around midnight.
Around midnight. Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it was very, very late.
Okay.
One of the things that we had to plan for though was because we were flying to Shanghai on the way there. They're 12 hours ahead of us.
Okay.
So we actually had to leave on Thursday at midnight.
Okay.
Or I guess technically that would be Friday. We had to leave at midnight to make sure that we were there Saturday morning.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Talk about confusing.
So you left at midnight out of New York, and you had a layover. So how long did you fly before you had your layover?
So from JFK to Beijing, it was 12 and a half hours.
Okay.
And then I had a lovely 5-hour layover
Okay.
in Beijing, and then it was a flight from Beijing to Shanghai that was no more than 2 hours.
Okay. So I believe you told me that I had remarked on the 5-hour layover, but you had said that you had gotten good pricing on the airfare, which is why you did it that way. Mm-hmm. So
Oh,
it was
yeah.
about $800 for your flights?
Yeah, a little less than $800 round trip
Okay.
per person. So
Okay.
the little 5-hour layover, we kind of both looked at each other and we're like, we'll suck it up.
Yeah, it was worth it when you think about it. We're like, okay, we can at least get some food if we wanted
Right.
to.
Yep.
We didn't know what food would be like on the plane. We had no idea what we were getting into. So we're like, let's take that 5 hours in case there's a delay, in case something happens that we don't know. We are
Right.
traveling. This is completely new for us. So we decided to take the 5 hours to save like a good $500. So it seemed worth it to
yeah.
us.
So how big was the plane? Was it the normal 3 seats and 3 seats, or did you have a middle section, or?
Yeah, so there was a middle section. It wasn't as big as like the double deckers, but it was still 3, and then 3.
So whereabouts on the plane did you sit?
So we purposely chose window seats.
Okay.
On the right side of the plane, because we were both, I guess, like she mentioned before, it was both of our first time flying for so long,
Okay.
and both of us flying to China. So we were excited to have the window open, but because it was a red eye, we actually were forced to close the window the entire time.
So we couldn't really look out the window at all. So
Right. And one good thing about window seats too is you can rest your head to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we definitely took advantage of that too.
you have to at that many hours.
You did a little bit of research before you headed out on for the flights. So did you bring any food, or did you ask, or did you research to see if they were going to serve any food on the flight, or what did you do as far as comfort?
So because it was so late at night, I do know that we got food before we got to the airport, just to be on the safe side. We knew that we were getting food on the plane. We didn't know how many meals we were getting. We didn't know what we were going to be served. So we just thought it would be best to kind of
Be ready
be ready for it.
Exactly.
for 12 hours.
But I would say most of the research that I guess we kind of did were just kind of like little tips and tricks to kind of, because of the 12-hour time difference, basically it's like right now it would be 5-ish a.m. As we're shooting this at 5 p.m. So we kind of had to trick ourselves to kind of get onto, a completely different time schedule.
Okay.
And tried to find some tips and tricks to do that.
Yeah, we didn't also expect to have full course meals, to have snacks, to have coffee. They were serving even wine.
Oh, nice.
So we were just shocked every time they kept waking us up, and it was to feed us, and we were just ecstatic. That I've only done domestic flights, and
Okay.
and I was like, wow, they're feeding us so much. This is wonderful. We even got Haagen-Dazs ice cream, which I think was a win for us.
Well,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, that's a bonus.
No, it was
That's a
fantastic.
bonus.
It was great.
Did they have movies on the flights, or did you bring your own like iPads for your own entertainment?
I mean, I think we prepped for that. So we had, at least I did. I had a bunch of TV shows that I had downloaded on Netflix to my phone just in case.
Yeah.
But actually, for their entertainment, each seat has like their own little TV screen.
Oh, in
They're
the
all
seat in
touch
front?
screens.
Yeah. Oh, great.
And they actually had a pretty good selection of movies, pretty recent ones too.
Oh, wonderful.
I think on the way there, at the time, I think Jurassic World had just come out or
Yes.
something like that. So we were
It was
watching
current.
a few
They were
different
good movies. It was good movies. They had even, I think some episodes, like shows were on there. So it turned out being like really good shows and movies. And they weren't movies that were like an hour long. They were the ones that they picked with longer durations.
Oh,
and I
right.
think it would help with the flight. So you didn't watch 10 million movies. You watched maybe 4 or 5. So it helped a lot. So that was a good opportunity to
great.
have. I didn't download anything. I came with a book and I said I could read for 12 hours. And at one point your eyes close, you don't read, and everything's dark. So I'm like, guess I'm not reading anymore. Guess I'm watching a movie. So I wasn't quite as prepared.
Now, did you think to bring, like, I would think that maybe some kind of sleep aids, whether it's be pill form or an eye mask or earplugs or something? Did you?
Yep, we had all of the above.
You had all the above, huh?
So I had brought some, I called my doctor beforehand because I was nervous about it because I'd never been on something so long. In the end, I didn't actually even end up using them.
Okay.
But I also had my eye mask, a neck pillow.
Yeah.
There's a picture of that.
Yeah.
There was a picture of that.
We'll show that in a minute.
Yeah,
Yep, that one.
that one. He wasn't really comfortable, for sure. Sorry, Adam. But I was really impressed by how comfortable he was. I think I had a neck pillow. They had pillows on the flight. They had blankets. They had eye masks too. I just used what they had. I didn't want to keep carrying more stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I think the only thing I really had was peppermint, because I heard that if you place peppermint by your nostrils, it helps from getting sick on flights because you don't know who you're coming across. I had a bunch of essential
Right.
oils. And then I was like, well, let's see what happens.
Right.
I wasn't quite as well prepared, but yeah, we turned out being okay.
Now, you left, was it 17 or 2017 or 2018 was your?
2018, last year, yeah.
And it was in the fall. It was October?
End of October, yeah.
Okay. So you were dressed like jeans and a sweatshirt? Or how did you dress for the flight? Comfortably?
T-shirt.
Definitely dressed, we tried to dress as comfortable as possible. I think for me, the only thing that I had planned, I guess, because I didn't want to pack it, was just, I did wear my leather jacket on the flight, but it immediately came off because it was so hot. But that was the only reason I took that on the plane. But otherwise, sweatpants, sweatshirt, and a T-shirt.
So you were comfortable with that? Because I always tend to be cold on flights. So
I was cold. I was
Were you?
really cold. I was
Okay.
also getting over a cold too.
Okay.
So I had just been really sick. So I had a scarf that covered half my face.
Okay.
There's no picture of that. He was sleeping. I had a scarf that covered my face. I had 2 sweatshirts. I don't think I brought hand warmers because they're not allowed, but I brought something that covered my hands in
Okay,
case I
yeah.
got cold. I was actually freezing on the flight where I was I wore a big sweater, and I was in the sweater, and the scarf was probably up to here, covering my eyes, and I was freezing the entire time.
And that's tough
So-
because it's hard to sleep when you're cold and,
Yes.
and uncomfortable.
Yes, so he was burning up probably, and I was freezing cold. So we both have 2 very different memories of the flight, very different experiences. So I froze and he was hot. So And we were actually just talking about that the other day. I'm like, I was freezing. He's like, I was hot. I'm like, I think you're wrong. But it happens.
So the first flight was like 12 hours, so you left in the middle of the night pretty much, our time. So were you able to actually sleep on the plane, or do you think you stayed up the... Because in the picture it showed you sleeping. How much did, no, it's a question. Are you comfortable enough to be able to sleep for a duration on the plane, or do you think you just kind of doze off and on? That's how I normally...
I mean, full disclosure, I can sleep anywhere. So.
Okay. Typical
Same.
man, huh?
No,
Yeah.
I'm same too. I used to fall
really?
asleep standing when I was a kid.
Oh,
so.
okay.
Yeah, I think
All
the
right.
only thing, again, trying to prep ourselves to like get on that clock already,
Right.
we were, even though we were leaving at 12, we were like, we have to stay up as long as possible at the beginning of the flight, just to try to get, on that rhythm quicker, because
I think we made it 4 hours awake on flight before you finally you pass out. And then they turn off the lights. I mean, it gets really sleepy in there. There's no way you can put on your spotlight to read, but you're getting tired. You want to pass out. You're going to fall asleep if you can. There are some people that didn't fall asleep, I'm sure. But eventually, I think most people doze off. Like they close all the windows. All the lights are dimmed. They don't really have the attendants walking back and forth unless they're coming to give food or coffee or help somebody with assistance.
Great, great. Now, you said you flew straight through into Beijing, China. So that was your layover, and you had 5 hours there. Mm-hmm. So what did you do?
So
Were those the pictures with the panda, or was that in Shanghai?
the panda is in Beijing.
Okay.
Yeah. That. God, a lovely 5-hour layover.
Okay.
I take really good pictures of Adam. That's one of my talents.
So this was while we're waiting for the second flight to begin. But
So sorry.
the first layover that we had in Beijing was actually pretty hectic. It was the first time that we had ever been to Beijing airport. It was, for me, it was the first time I'd ever been in an Eastern airport.
Okay.
Things move quickly.
Yeah.
You got to keep moving.
Yeah.
And one of the other things is, so like, you know how in the U.S. they make you take out like your laptop, your iPad.
To go through security, you're talking.
Yeah, to go
Okay.
through security. Because we were transferring from an international flight to domestic, we had to
Okay.
change terminals.
Okay.
So we had to go through security all over again.
And did you have to go through customs first? Did you
Yes,
have to
we
go
did
through
go
any
through
kind of
customs.
customs or
We did.
immigration?
Yes.
Once you landed?
There was one for if you were already a citizen.
Okay.
And then there was one for everybody else.
Okay.
Our line was significantly longer.
Of course.
It took significantly longer to get through it. It was also extremely confusing. They kind of just gave you a sheet of a yellow paper. Do you remember that we had to take our fingerprints? Then they kind of shuffled you around and you had to get a yellow paper, fill that out, and we were like, I don't know what to put on this because it was really confusing.
Yeah.
And then we had to wait on a line. There wasn't too many people to help you. There was like maybe one person at each station.
Okay.
And then you were hoping to be able to talk to them, and you were hoping that they would understand you. Once customs went through quickly though, they kind of look at your passport, they look at you, look at what you wrote, ask you a few questions, at least for me they did, and then they passed you on pretty quickly. And then the saga continued from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think one of the reasons too that we got through pretty quickly was we had actually already gotten our Chinese visas before we even flew out.
Okay.
So I know for me, when I went through customs, they literally just like looked at my picture, turned to see if I had the visa, put the stamp in, and were like, "You can go." So
It was quick.
I think if you prep for that, it goes pretty quickly. But yeah, security was its own ordeal, and the only reason I say that is because so not only do we have to take out all of our electronics, we had to take out the cords and chargers too, any battery packs we had. We also had to take out, this was more for you than it was for me, but like all your makeup and all your cosmetics had to be
really?
in. You have to take those
that's
out
something.
too.
Yeah, something I didn't realize. We basically had to open up all of our carry-on. And then there's so many people moving that you're just watching them take your stuff.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wow, I hope I get that back.
Trying to keep track of everything.
Yeah. And you have one person that stands you on a pedestal and says, open your arms or like tee out. And you're just watching somebody else move your stuff and another person moving. And I think we were both just like, what happened? And we checked our stuff as quickly as we could because they're like, okay, you can go. And your things are sprawled up against, a giant table between the many people that were going through. So it was quite an ordeal, quite an experience. We were definitely prepared the second time around. We were like, we're gonna be ready for Beijing. But the first time was nothing I've ever experienced before.
Okay.
That's for sure.
So you deplaned, and then you went through customs immigrations, and then you collected your bags, and then went through security again, or?
They kept our so what stayed under the flight, they kept that. It was what we had carry on that they went through.
I see.
And each of us had one personal item, one carry-on.
Okay.
So those were the things that we had to go through security again.
Okay. All right, but they passed your checked bags right through.
And then to find where we were supposed to go in that giant airport was another just, you're following arrows and you're hoping you're going the right way. And it's like the time is clicking and you don't, those 5 hours for the first time, it felt like it was the shortest time. It didn't feel like enough time.
Really?
We sat down for I felt 5 minutes, and I think I texted my mom and dad. I think you were trying to text your mom, and we were like, we made it, And the next thing you know, we were hopping on another flight. It didn't feel like it was long enough the first time. It went really
that's good
quick.
to
The
know.
5-hour layover came in handy.
The first time was good.
for
The first
planning.
time, yeah.
was
The
great.
second one I can't say. The second one we were bored. We were pros by then.
So the at the Beijing airport, was there any English signs, or was it all Chinese, or how did you, or
It's
just
a-
general like pictures?
It's a mix of both. I think the main directional signs of here's where the terminal, here's where the gates are. Those are in both Chinese and English. The part I think that confused us, and which is why it took us so long to get through security, is the security signs. We relied heavily on all the pictures because I don't. And again, I might just be traumatized by it, but I don't remember seeing any English.
Okay.
But I do remember seeing all of the pictures, and I was like, oh, you have to take your cosmetics out. Oh, we have to take all of our chargers and cords out. We have to take everything essentially.
Everything we brought had to come out.
Yeah, which is why I think we were prepped for U.S. security, but we were not prepped for Chinese
International.
security on the way there.
Okay.
On the
Cool.
way back, though, we did, wise up, and everything was bagged accordingly, and so we
Right.
could literally just rip things out of the bag, put them in the bin, and then we got through security pretty quickly.
It was way easier the second time. That's why those 5 hours, I think, dragged, as opposed to the first time where we're like, oh my God, we're running for our flight. We're never gonna make it. The second time we felt like professionals, I feel. We're like, we're gonna be ready for this. So it
So
happened.
on the trip back, you left out of Yokohama.
Tokyo Narita, yeah.
Okay, so you left out of Tokyo, and you flew from Tokyo to.
Tokyo to Beijing.
Beijing.
And then Beijing back to JFK.
Okay.
Yeah, Beijing is, I think, one of the main hubs over there. So,
Okay.
both of our flights went through there. So
Did you happen to grab any food while you were at the airport?
So from Tokyo Narita to Beijing, when we had the 5-hour layover in Beijing, I think we were just exhausted. We grabbed KFC.
Okay.
We were like, do we want Thai? Do we want this? Do we want that? And I'm like, let's get some KFC.
Now, did it taste like original KFC, or was it a Chinese version of Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Oh, it was the same. It tastes exactly the same. The portions are very different, though.
Yes.
I will say the portions compared to American sizes are very different.
Yeah,
And there
smaller.
Yes, lots
Yes.
smaller. And there was ice cream in my coffee. So I didn't really understand that, but there was ice cream in my coffee.
They use that maybe in place of cream? Or?
I guess, but there was ice cream in my coffee, and I was like, well, I don't hate it, so I guess it's okay. It worked out. It did shock me, though. I'm like, what is this?
So now that you have 20/20 vision, and it's just like what I know now, what I know now, I wish I knew then. What did you take away from that? Like what were your expectations compared to what the reality really was?
I don't know if necessarily my reality differed too much from my expectations. There were a few things that did throw me for a loop. On our way there, the girl actually who sat in front of us, mid-flight, did a face mask.
Really?
And her and I looked at each other and we're like, ooh, she's just relaxing. She's enjoying this flight. And we were like, that's super smart.
She did a full
Little
face
did we
mask.
know, literally after, maybe a day or two after our flight, our skin was so dry.
You had mentioned that, yeah.
Because it's dry air inside of the plane. So honestly, the first thing that I'm doing next time is I'm packing a face mask.
Okay, yeah.
Because our skin dried out so bad.
It was really bad.
And so, in some of the research that I have done on long haul flights, the ladies are always putting lotions in their bags and misters and just all kinds of things. And
Oh yeah, no, that's
I would do that
very
next time.
wise.
Yeah,
Because
I would
it
do
is-
that
it
next
is
time
very
for
dry.
sure. I think my skin, I think my whole face peeled at one point.
Really?
Like almost as if I have really sensitive skin, and the fact that it was, I think for me, so cold, even though I had a scarf covering my face, my face literally peeled when we were in Beijing and we got out of Beijing. We were sitting in the hot tub and I just remember my face. I'm like, I don't think this is supposed to be happening.
No,
and it looked
your
like I
hands
had,
were too.
my hands were peeling. I mean, it was
Wow.
really, it was harsh for my skin. I totally forgot about that, but it wasn't, I didn't like it. It was not good.
So next time it's the facial masks
Yes.
and the
Yes.
cream and
And then I think the other thing, and I don't know if it happened to you, but it happened to me on the way back. So on the way there, I actually wore like calf-high socks.
Okay,
Not
like
necess-
compression?
They weren't compression, but on the way there, I had no issues. Like my legs didn't swell or anything, but on the way back, I only had ankle socks on. And on the flight back, I didn't really get up that much because I fell, as you saw by the picture, I passed out.
He likes to sleep.
But I remember getting off the plane and I remember looking at Krystal and I was like, my ankles are swollen, like bad. So it is one thing that like, make sure if you are gonna fly very long flights and maybe it is a red eye and you're gonna plan on sleeping, do the compression
Compression
socks,
or-
wear socks that like go past your calf, because I thought it was just like a myth that like people got blood clots in their legs
No.
from not getting up, and I was like,
We also, the first time around, we did exercises that they had on the TV. I don't think the second time, I think we slept through it. Because I don't remember seeing a video for exercises. And the first time around, we were up for exercises. People were stretching, standing up, going around the cabin. Second time, we were so exhausted that we just slept most of the way.
yeah.
So I think that also played a huge part in it.
yeah, like if you have the opportunity, even if it's just to go to the bathroom, like get up, take a walk, and go to the bathroom, because blood clots are real, folks.
Yeah, I personally prefer to sit in an aisle seat just so I have that opportunity
Yes.
just to stand
Yes.
if I need to or want to.
I
Yeah,
think
and
I
I
would do
think-
that differently next time. That would be kind of what I would do next. Not only be prepared for cold with lotion and all that other good stuff, but also maybe choose an aisle seat, even though I like to, both of us kind of went back and forth between who slept on the window. Aisle seat makes it a lot more convenient to get up and not feel like you're bothering somebody
Right.
that's on the end.
Yeah.
I think I might try that next time for sure.
Oh, good.
Since they make you close the windows anyway.
Yeah, no view.
Well, thank you for sharing all this information. I hope you found some helpful information. If you have the opportunity to go on any long haul flights, the longest flight I'd ever been on was maybe 6 hours, and that's when we used to be able to fly direct from Providence right into Las Vegas. That was the longest flight I ever
Wow.
took. So I don't know how I would handle a 12-hour flight, but if I was going somewhere exotic, I certainly would give it a whirl. So I want to thank Adam and Krystal for being here on this first segment about their trip to the Far East. Please stay tuned and come back again to see the next segment. We're going to be talking all about the cruise portion of their trip. Again, thank you all for watching. Please feel free to send me comments or questions, or if you would like to be a guest on my show and talk about a fabulous vacation that you went on, please don't hesitate to get in touch. You can find me on Facebook, Bonnie's Travel, or you can contact me through the TV station here. Until next time, safe travels. Thank you.